morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Health, Wealth, and Relationships with Tisa
and Grant.
Well, today we are well into May.
Well into May.
Okay, so another part of the things of May is Stroke Awareness Month. So when we talk about strokes, we're talking about something that can happen in seconds.
That's right.
And so you want to be ready for strokes. But let me just say, before we get into all the statistics, all the things about stroking, stroke can be prevented. 80% of them can be prevented. So I don't want this to be one of those podcasts that we're just talking about the bad things. Mm-hmm. This is actually one thing where prevention really plays a big, big part in if you even have a stroke or not, right?
Very important. I was shocked by a lot of the things that I learned just before we get on this episode around the stroke. But that one fact you just said, 80% of these strokes are preventable, kind of floored me. So we got to learn how to prevent these things, right?
Right. So what is a stroke? Do we know what a stroke is? So a stroke is a blood vessel that's been blocked or a vessel that bursts. So you just asked me a question right before we came on. You asked me, what's the difference between a stroke and an aneurysm?
Correct.
So a stroke is when the blood vessel is blocked. Mm-hmm. That's why when there's signs of a stroke coming on, we're going to talk about F.A.S.T, but you can actually see a stroke happening. Usually when you hear about somebody had an aneurysm, they're dead. Mm-hmm. They're like, what happened? They had an aneurysm, I mean, something bursted, a vessel bursted. You can't prevent a vessel from bursting, right? So that just happens. And so when usually people have an aneurysm, they're dead instantly. But a stroke can be prevented, but you can also see signs of a stroke.
That's what I want to know about.
Yeah. So signs of a stroke. So remember, when you're talking about stroke, that's a blood vessel being blocked. So you can, I don't know if anybody else has seen somebody have a stroke, but you can watch their whole mannerisms change. Mm-hmm. So remember F.A.S.T, F.A.S.T. We are looking for signs of a stroke. So if you're with somebody has signs of a stroke, F.A.S.T. F is the face drop. You can literally see, you can just literally see a face dropping when somebody's having a stroke. All those muscles are just blocked. Yeah. So all that things that keep everything smiling, you can literally see it going down.
Wow.
A for F.A.S.T, arm weakness. Usually they can't pick up their arms. So if they're like trying to do something, they're like, that's another thing. Yeah. So F.A.S.T is the arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. Mm-hmm. So you'll definitely see it in the mouth. You'll see them, they're having a hard time really just making up the words. And it's a slower speech. You're like, okay, what's going on? Why are you talking like that? You'll see the face droop. Mm-hmm. You'll see the arm weakness. Right. And you'll see the slurred speech. So that's the S in F.A.S.T. And then when you see all that, it's time to call 911. So the T in F.A.S.T is time to call 911.
And it's a big difference. Somebody that's been drinking a lot, and they could just be slumping over. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same thing. Because this is a muscle thing. You can see it.
Right.
No, definitely different.
Definitely different. Okay, I just want to make sure because I've seen a lot of my friends kind of drooping and slurring. And I just want to make sure they weren't stroking as well.
So let's talk about some risk factors before we get into some statistics. So risk factors. Why do people have strokes, you think?
Stress, I think.
Stress is a big one. One. So the top 5 risk factors in having a stroke is high blood pressure is number 1.
Oh, wow.
So if you keep your blood pressure under control, this is a way of preventing having a stroke. Mm-hmm. Most people who have a stroke, their blood pressure is way up. When you do a test after somebody had a stroke, they'll check their blood pressure. Blood pressure is out of whack.
Usually high.
So you got that blood pressure to a point where something had to burst or something got blocked. Keep your blood pressure under control. So that goes back to knowing your numbers, right?
Right.
Get your check your blood pressures. And you always have to, I want you, when you go into the doctor, them to say your blood pressure is great. That's the first thing they do when you go into the doctor is check your blood pressure. So make sure those numbers are good. Smoking. Smoking ain't good for nothing. Can we just say that there? Cancer, heart attacks, any health issue, you just want to stop smoking. There ain't no way. Just stop smoking. There ain't no pussyfoot around that.
Right.
Don't smoke. And if you haven't kicked the habit, just really try all the new stuff that's out. They got patches, they got gum, they might even have a shot for
they do.
Do they have a shot for cigarettes?
Shots. They got, because what you're really addicted to is the nicotine.
It's the nicotine.
Nicotine is a horrible addiction, worse than heroin. I don't think a lot of people realize.
Yeah. So no smoking, period. Mm-hmm. No smoking, period. Diabetes. Watch your diabetes. Again, watch your levels. These are knowing your numbers, knowing your sugar levels. If your sugar's out of whack, then your blood pressure is going to be out of whack, and that can lead to a stroke. So diabetes, obesity. Now you said something about obesity. Obesity just messes up everything.
It does.
Extra weight
It does.
everything, right? So
Yeah.
again, keep those numbers right, making sure that you're in a healthy weight as much as you can. And if you're at a healthy weight, then you're probably what? Eating right and moving. So
right?
keep that healthy weight. It all goes back to eating right and moving.
Right.
And stress. So let's talk about stress for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
People, we all experience stress.
True.
But we all don't know how to de-stress.
Right.
So we all take that stress in. It comes up in different ways: loss of sleep, anxiety, depression, and all that kind of stuff. We really just learn, as a culture, need to learn how to just deal with stress.
Yeah.
How to de-stress.
And that using smoking and drinking and all the other things that just you're compounding the situation.
True.
Find some alternate.
Not self-medicating.
Right.
De-stressing.
Right.
So when we're talking about breathing helps you de-stress, right? Always breathing, de-stress. Breathe throughout the day. I can't give you an easier or more simple, tangible thing to do during the day, but just breathe. If you're feeling stressful, feeling anxiety, if you're feeling tired, just start breathing. Oxygen just resets your body, and it just keeps everything flowing more naturally.
Well, what you said there is that if you notice, I know I catch myself doing. I was catching myself even today, and I was going into a hospital setting, and I had to stop. And then I noticed I was a little bit, just
anxious.
Yeah, very anxious. And so I'm not breathing deeply. I'm just, or not at all, just short breath. And I said, let me slow down and intentionally take some deep breaths.
It works wonders.
And I felt much better by doing that, and I have more control, more confidence. And
you can do that any time of the day, anytime stress comes up. So your stepfather was having a procedure, just walking into a facility, a hospital or a clinic can get you real stressful. So even if before you take your own self to the doctor, look, take a deep breath, because you want to make sure that when they do take your blood pressure, you're not stressful just from going to the doctor, right? Some people just get really stressed out going, especially all people that know you ain't did what you're supposed to do. Is like going to the doctor is like confirmation that you have not been on your game. So breathe through that whole process. So handle the stress. I think if we handle our stress, we would be able to handle our blood pressure, which leads to prevention of strokes.
Yeah.
It all kind of plays together. Cholesterol. Now we were talking about what I don't even know what cholesterol is. Okay. So I asked Grant what
you didn't believe me.
So I asked Grant what was cholesterol. What'd you tell me?
I told it was butter in your veins, is what I said. It's dried butter down.
Oh Lord. Just like when I asked him with diabetes, what you said, sugar
and butter. There you go. It's butter in your veins.
It's sort of. Cholesterol is like the thickness. It's a thick substance that really it's a balance between your good fat and your bad fat. And so when you're talking about your cholesterol, your ADLs and your LDLs, when they talk about those numbers, it's the balance between the good fat in your body and the bad fat in your body, not necessarily the butter.
It looks like butter, though. Yeah,
it can look like butter. It can be sludgy, so it can let it flow naturally with lubricates.
Yeah, but it's not flowing is when high cholesterol will shut down your blood flow. Okay, we just talked about blood flow.
That's it. That's a blockage. Blockage in their brain, right? So in all of that, sleep is important. I don't think we talk about sleep enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you get older, sleep is harder to. I don't know, something about aging. Sleep is harder to get. So that's why you ever see old people take naps a lot.
Yeah.
Why?
Immediately.
Because we have first of all, we recognize that you listen to our bodies and we need a nap. 2 or 3 o'clock. It's okay. It's okay, y'all. If y'all need to take a nap about 2 or 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, when you're working, that's when usually a natural sleep time comes in after lunch. You back to work at about 2 o'clock. You're napping. You're just waiting for 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock to hit or whatever. But it's important to get your sleep. Take those naps if you need to. Set your clock early. I go to bed by 10:30. People laugh at me, but I don't care.
But then she's up by 6:30.
I might be, or I might sleep till 9.
She get 12 hours sleep.
I try to get as much sleep as possible because it's not steady. Sometimes that sleep is not like steady. I'm waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm letting dogs
that's the kind
out.
of sleep I don't like. I don't like my sleep to be interrupted.
Yeah,
that's probably it's hard to go back to sleep, or you just don't feel rested when you do finally wake up.
Yeah. So although I'm getting up at 9, I might have got up for it and I let the dog out because she's been doing some weird.
I think there's some consistency.
Up in the middle of the night,
making sure you're consistent. So if you're going to bed at 10:30, you're getting up at 6 or whatever it is. I wake up every morning at 6 a.m. I might be out of the bed, but I'm awake.
And what time do you go to bed?
Typically about 11 or 12. I'm going to.
Okay, so you get about 6 6-7 hours sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's reasonable.
Yeah.
6 to 8 is reasonable.
Mhm.
I try to get all 8 of mine in. I really do. It just makes me feel better. And now that I'm not working, I don't have to feel rushed to get up. I try to set appointments from 11 to 4. So,
but I'll take an afternoon nap. Don't get me wrong. The afternoon comes 2, 3,
and that's okay.
And I'll take a nice hour power nap, and I'm pretty much energized, for the rest of the evening.
Yeah. And one thing that'll help you sleep is move during the day. So like, you remember when you used to say, I'm going to tire these kids up and they're going to sleep really good tonight. And you take them to the park and you run them around. You kind of got to do that as an adult too. You kind of got to be moving enough to your body is actually tired. So when it's time to go to bed, you're like,
yeah,
I need to go to sleep, right? Yep. So sedentary is not good. Keep moving. Lack of movement can lead to a stroke because you're sedentary. You're not moving around. You're not getting to sleep. You're not moving those blood vessels around. You're not pumping that blood vessels. So activity is always good.
I tell you what I did for my stepdad is that for Christmas I got him one of these. It's hard to explain, but what it is like a treadmill, but you set it next to the chair. And he can pedal it.
Oh yeah,
and he's sitting there.
You all see those things. You can put it on your desk, and they just move their little feet sitting at watching TV.
He loves to watch, sports things like that. So he's not getting up. So this actually moves, and he actually gets the movement, and he loves it. He actually,
he uses it
all the time.
I've had people use it, but not use it. We've given some gifts away like that, and they don't use it. No. But you do. You're sitting there. You might as well just be moving your legs or something.
He enjoys it.
Yeah. It keeps the muscles and the veins and all them blood vessels moving.
Tiredness and all like that. So when he has memory, when you got to get up, you got to have energy to get up and motivate you. And
your body ain't like, oh, we ain't moved in 5 hours. You're still waking up.
Cramp and things like that, right? Because you've been moving your blood vessels and everything else.
Yeah.
So it feels better. So
yep.
Check into that.
So let's give us some stats. The main stat we want to make sure you know.
I tell you, some of these stats are just flooring. And that stroke is the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. Number 4 in the United States is stroke. And we just learned that 80% of those are preventable. So let's keep that in mind, that we can prevent a lot of these strokes. And about 800,000 Americans experience a stroke every year.
800,000.
You remember, that's like the entire city of Omaha, almost times 2, experiencing a stroke.
That's a lot of people. I bet you everybody knows somebody who's had a stroke, just like cancer, right? It's just that big of a statistic.
Yeah, it's very common, not uncommon. It definitely happens. And then someone dies, actually passes away from stroke every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes, someone dies in the United States is actually passing away from a stroke. And then nearly 2 million brain cells die every minute. 2 million brain cells die every minute. And that's important because you lose motor skills if you don't attend to the stroke quick enough. I had some friends of mine, they couldn't retain their speech and things like that because 2 million brain cells are dying, and they don't just grow.
And so they might have not have got, when they had the stroke, they didn't first of all see fast. Somebody wasn't around them to say they're having a stroke, and so the longer you take to get to treating the stroke as you see it, if it takes days or if it takes hours, whatever, that's again, sometimes they don't get that
the time is
the mobility back. It just it's gone. Like that cell, because your brain needs oxygen, and if it's gone too long, it's gone. That cell is dead. So So, but it also affects African American at a different rate. Of course, we have the highest stroke death rate.
I didn't know that.
Black people. We always have the highest everything, don't we? It's just highest.
It's not leading these
categories. We got the highest stroke death rate. So that means we die from stroke more than anybody else in all cultures.
That's not good.
And why is that? I think a lot of people.
And if 80% is preventable, what are we not doing? Right?
What are we not doing?
What are we not doing?
We're not managing our stress.
Right. And we're not moving, diet.
And we aren't knowing our numbers in terms of our high blood pressure.
Right.
So let's talk about high blood pressure, because high blood pressure is caused by stress. So a lot of us, especially African American women and men, around age 50, seem to develop high blood pressure. How many people do you know that's on high blood pressure medicine? Are you yourself on high blood pressure medicine? Are you?
No.
Me neither. My blood pressure is always perfect. So I just want to remind people, if it's preventable, then if you're leading a lifestyle that prevents stroke, you probably can lead a lifestyle that prevents hypertension.
I like to hear
because
that.
Hypertension really leads to strokes.
Yes.
And so we need to go back to those prevention
And so
methods.
you said earlier to me, once you get on those medications, how many
Forever.
people they get off of them?
No, they're designed to keep you on forever.
Let that sink in.
So just think about that. So you get on a medication that's supposed to help you stop your hypertension, lower your blood pressure, but you have to take that medicine forever to keep your blood pressure low.
So you're not solving the problem; you're managing it.
And I think you're creating a problem too.
Maybe.
I mean, the bottom line is we weren't born with high blood pressure for us to have to take a pill to take forever. So Big Pharma, this is again my problem, Big Pharma, they always treat the symptoms, but they don't solve the problem. So they're going to give you something to treat your high blood pressure, to keep it low, but then you're going to have impotency. You're going to have other side effects of your high blood pressure medicine. And it's a big trade-off. It's like, do you want... can you manage it and you manage your stress, or do you want to get on that pill forever? That's going to cause you other side effects that you might not want.
And one thing I noticed that for holistic treatments, and you know a lot about this, and a lot of it's stress reduction, whether you're doing some kind of yoga, you're getting some massage treatment, you're doing some kind of
self-care.
And I've known people that reduced their hypertension, and they were
just by doing that, just by exercising and making sure you get massages and making sure you using breathing techniques, because it's about the stress. How are you managing your daily stress? We all have stresses. I manage mine different than you, but we are in practice of those things, right? Breathing, right? We're in practice of yoga and Tai Chi. Those things help you manage stress. If you don't have any kind of regimen, a self-care regimen, or some regimen to manage, even just walking, daily walking, releases pheromones, right? It releases all those things that battles the stress. So the stress is there, but then when you go for a walk, it just kind of walks it off. You can de-stress. You can think about it in your mind. You can let it go. You start replacing those stressful thoughts with sounds of the water, sounds of the bird, winds, those things. Those things help you de-stress. So you're getting it out of here and you're releasing it. You have to learn to release stress. I literally totally release it from your body. So all of those techniques that we've been giving you guys, try some of them. Try yoga.
That's the only way it works. You have to do
try Tai Chi.
And you have to be consistent about it. And make it a part of your routine.
Make it a part of your routine. But you have to start with the trying. Seeing if it works, see if you can do it. And then you'll be like, wow, I feel it feels better. Let's keep trying it until you
ever notice that when you work out? When you first start working out, it's hard. And you're like, oh, your body feels beat, you feel achy. But then you keep going, and then before you know it, you're not feeling that. And then when you don't work out after you've been working,
your body's like, hey,
feel it.
Your body's like, hey,
you're like, we gotta work out
because it wants it.
It wants it,
and it needs it.
Yeah, 100%.
Your body be like, hey, we was doing good. What happened?
Well, no, we gotta get back in there. Stop what you're doing and get back in there and do your thing.
That's it. And so women are also very at high risk for strokes. I think because we change hormonally, and so the blood flows differently as you get older and all that kind of stuff. Pregnancy changes. We got menopause. We got biological changes going on. So I think that makes sense for us to have more issues with strokes, because again, the blood flow is always affected by your hormones, by pregnancy, by menopause. So you're saying
more women have strokes than men?
More women have strokes than men.
Wow, I didn't know that.
More women. Well, we're more complicated. As far as blood flow goes,
I'm not
right?
stepping in that. I'm not. No, not gonna.
We're very much more complicated. Blood flow is a part of our natural hormonal changes. And
guys, don't fall for that. Don't step into that.
Well, I'm telling y'all, we's complicated. Yeah, we complicate that whole blood flow thing. I mean, menopause, everything is centered around blood flow. So
you gotta get.
You ain't gotta step, but that's just reality. You know, when you're menopause, you stop bleeding, and postmenopausal, it dries up. And so again, obviously that's going to affect the blood flow through the rest of your body.
There you go. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And many communities delay treatment because of symptoms, and the symptoms are misunderstood.
Okay.
And so, you got to just be real intentional first about F.A.S.T, seeing it while it's happening. But those preventative methods, just keep your stress level down. Just think about a blood vessel bursting or blocking, and blood that's to your brain. So all that is about stress. All that is about stress.
Right.
So key takeaways. Know your numbers.
I love
your blood pressure numbers. My blood pressure is always, they were like, oh, you're 70 over 90, you're perfect. Know your blood pressure numbers. They'll tell you if it's teetering too high.
Yeah.
And then start doing some of those things.
But you got to know the number because the numbers don't make sense unless you understand what they mean.
Know your number.
Right.
They'll tell you when your blood pressure's high, though. That's the first thing they check when you go to the doctor is your blood pressure. And why? Because it regulates everything. Your blood pressure regulates everything. Walk every day.
Yep.
That's all I do. I haven't been doing much exercise besides walking.
You walk.
But walking is still, I'm consistent with my walking, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in a gym. I have to do better with my toning and doing more stuff like that. So I'm picking up my Tai Chi because that's my slow toning. But walk every day. If you don't do nothing else, walk every day. And if you want
weather is beautiful, no excuse, go outside, get some fresh air, walk around your block.
Extra steps. Walk from the parking lot to the back of the parking lot. Just make it intentional. Walk the stairs instead of the elevators if you work in a building. Make it intentional.
Right.
Reduce processed food and soda. And why do we keep coming back to that?
Because it ain't good for you.
Because it clogs your blood vessels.
Yeah. All that sodium, all that stuff throws your pressure out of whack.
Out of whack,
for sure.
So you gotta watch the food. And that's for everything. Anything and everything for bench and watch. Just minimize that as much as you can. Again, when you're going to fast foods, and we're still trying to go to restaurants and give you that healthy option because people are busy. Everybody's stopping to get something. But be intentional about what you pick up. Right?
Yep.
Don't pick up that ultra processed burger, even though that might be calling your name. Try a salad. I
tell you what you're going to see. We're going to start having some healthy choices from some restaurants. And if you put in our code, you're going to get a discount. We don't want to hear about, it costs too much. We all know all food, no matter what you're eating, has gone up. But we don't want it to also cost your health. Right? Yeah. So you're going to start seeing us tell you about some places, some coupons, things that you can use and actually lower that cost.
Absolutely. Manage your stress intentionally. What I mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's like when you know that you're going to be in a stress, because you're stressed. Everybody has daily stresses. I know what stresses me out. My events coming up stress me out, right? So we got our Strut for the Cure next month.
Right,
I know my triggers. I know that any events that I put on stresses me out. So I know that's coming. I'm going to have to take care of myself more. I'm going to have to intentionally get more sleep and make it up if I'm interrupted. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to use those techniques, writing it down in the middle of the night to get it out of my head. I'm going to have to do more self-care because I get a little bitchy. I turn into a little beast when I'm really stressed. And so I'm intentionally going to manage that stress. I know it's coming. I'm going to be like, okay, I need a massage. I need to go thrifting. I need to go spend a little money. I need the pool.
Do the things that de-stresses her. That's what she's saying. That's good.
And hey, all those things work. If we need to give you a list, we'll put that on our list too. Ways of self-care and de-stressing.
Excellent.
Stay hydrated.
Oh, you got to drink water.
And people think that's just a summer thing. You have to stay hydrated all the time. And I'm telling you, when you get old, and I know this from my father, which is so weird, but when you get older, your body doesn't hold as much hydration.
I didn't know that.
No. So every time my father used to have to go to the doctor because he was diabetic or whatever, first thing they tell us is he's dehydrated. And you're like, he sups water all day, or he had his cup back in the day, right? My dad, he's 80. He had his cup back in the day. I'm thinking he's sipping water all day. Yeah. But every time we have to take him to the hospital, the first thing they say, well, he's dehydrated. We're going to keep him in because he's dehydrated. We're like,
yeah.
So just be more intentional about hydrating yourself, getting electrolytes in your system, not just water. Because sometimes people say water don't work because you're probably drinking regular water.
That's right. Get some extra in.
Alkaline water is the best. So when you go to the store, it might cost you a few cents extra, but it's giving you the things that your body needs. Sometimes water, it's just fluids, right? But stuff alkaline water actually feeds your body what it needs. So be a little more attention about getting alkaline water.
So it's alkaline. There's spring water, and then there's purified water.
There's purified water.
I mean, there's a tier to that. Which ones are probably better?
Alkaline is the best one because alkaline has alkalites, what your body needs.
Alkalites.
All that other stuff is just saying it's fresher water from the spring. It's fresher from the mountains of Fiji. They're just saying it's fresh. But there's one that is more hydrated, and some of those ones what is the ones at 50 cents? Aqua.
All that vitamin
water. That's actually he's putting alkaline and stuff in your water that you need. So be very intentional. If it has alkaline, that's the best. All that other spring water and blah blah blah. Unless I don't trust it. It's coming from the springs of what I said, Fiji,
H2O.
And it's something that's going to give you the fountain of youth. I don't trust those. But read it if it has alkaline in it. That's a good thing.
Excellent.
Sleep.
We got to get our sleep.
Got to get your sleep.
Got to stop smoking.
Oh my God, don't smoke.
Just
on the smoking.
Yeah, that's a big X.
And if you need help, look that up. I want everybody who's smoking. God, it's like smoking is like, don't y'all feel exiled anyway? Smoking. I mean, if you're still a smoker, it is so like socially a thing now. Like y'all standing outside, you stand outside your own houses, you stand outside your workplaces. So I mean,
gotta be straight. You can't go to the airport. You
gotta find a certain spot.
Yeah.
Just stop.
But remember back like in the 50s, if you look at the movies, especially
it was so acceptable.
Movies, everybody was sexy. You had to have a cigarette. Now that, it's no longer the thing.
And it's weird to even see people in an old movie smoking. They'd be like, right? Well, even when they stopped doing it.
And indoors, in their offices, they're smoking.
Well, the biggest thing that's in my lifetime is when you go to bed. The gambling, the casinos. Casinos went from Iowa over there. Well, all of them, you could smoke into them. Then they went to smoke free. Yeah. And I was like, wow. So I walked into a casino. It's like, first back in the day, it's like, I couldn't gamble because there was all the smoke. Everybody smoked that gamble. It's like they went hand in hand. Then when they were smoke free, it's like, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
So even when you go to casinos now, you can't smoke. It's clear. It don't smell like an old dirty closet.
It's not a good habit.
It's not a good habit.
Definitely not a good habit.
And learn those warning signs for strokes. Learn FAST. What's FAST?
Go back to that FAST. Yeah.
FAST.
F-A-S-T.
Okay. First thing is the what?
The face drooping.
Face drooping. Next thing is the what?
Arm
weakness. Next thing is the S.
The speech.
Slurred speech. And then if you see all that, it is what?
Time to call 911.
T is time to call 911. Then you can really probably save somebody. You can probably they can probably get that shot because they give them a shot to kind of get those blood vessels going again. And it's really miraculous how they come back to life.
Nice.
So, but you got to catch them early. Now, if you have somebody that stroked last night and you catch them in the morning, they may not recover. They might not get that speech back. That's gone too long without the air.
Right. The airflow, blood flow, all of that makes such a difference in your life.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, how does this affect? Did we cover the wealth?
We haven't, but we kind of been, we've been dipping in that water.
Yeah.
Because everything your health is going to then impact your wealth, which is going to impact your relationship.
Absolutely.
When we talk about wealth, it's just your money flow. Let's talk about money flow. So, we talked about strokes, that's impacting your blood flow. Well, when that happens, it's going to definitely impact your money flow, right?
Loss of income.
All of that.
Well, if you have a stroke, that means you can't go to work.
Can't go to work.
You're going to be paying for maybe a caregiver.
Depending on how you recover, to your point.
Or if you recover, or during recover.
Right.
Because if you have a stroke, you lost something, like you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't move your arm.
Right.
So you're going to need it. Even in the recovery of it, you're going to need an immediate caregiver.
So let's get back to that other part of that is that's why you have to have good health insurance. You have to understand what that health insurance really entails, especially for long-term care. Because if you have a stroke episode, typically the recovery time, we're talking months to years to months. Forever could be. Right. Are you prepared for that kind of impact? We talked about, changing your home modifications. Like, hey, we got to put in a lift. We got to have wheelchairs. We got to have this. We got to have that. You got to have somebody come to the house.
That costs a lot of money. Even a wheelchair. Even a wheelchair, if you had a stroke and you can't walk all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just even a wheelchair.
Or is your house even, can it handle you in can you roll up to your home? Can you get somebody off of the porch? I mean, there's a lot that goes into that where you don't think about it. Think about your house right now where you're at. If you had to all of a sudden be in a wheelchair, how would that impact?
Oh, I know. I couldn't get in my house because my house has stairs up the back way to the in the garage and the stairs in the front. I used to have relatives come. I can't come over your house. You got all them stairs.
So all those things you might have to move. I mean, all these things are going to impact your wealth and what you have available, cash on hand, or the ability to get your hands on some kind of capital. All these things come into play because typically a stroke is a crisis. It's not something that might see some of these things building up to, but when it happens, it's usually all of a sudden.
Because it's preventable. No, you don't see it coming because it should be preventable, right? And so when it happens, you're not ready for it unless you prevent it for it because it's something that really, it's kind of like getting hit by a car. You can try to prevent it, wear your seatbelts as much as possible, but if it happens, then you're going to experience some financial loss for sure. Hopefully, you have insurance that can offset some of these things that you might need, but Again,
That's
in
it.
prevention, if you can prevent not having a stroke, you can forget.
Well, that's why we're having a show.
that-
We want you to prevent
Yeah.
this, because a health crisis, without question, can become a financial crisis overnight. Night and day. All of a sudden, these things are now on top of you.
Say your spouse just had a stroke last night. Now you got to figure out, do I stay home and take care of them?
Yeah.
Do I bring in a caregiver? Either way, it's going to cost you. You're going to have to take off work, or they're going to have to take off work. But there's got to be care involved. And so it's going to cost you some money.
Right.
So, and it's going to cost you relationship stress. Right. So as we move, we know it's going to cost you money for caregivers, for home modifications, for transportation, for wheelchairs, for just accessibility. You have to become handy. Everything has to be handicap accessible. So that's going to cost you. So again, prevention. A health crisis, like you said, it becomes financial overnight.
Overnight can turn you upside down. So make sure if something happens tomorrow, you want to think about this now. If something like this happened tomorrow, what would my family know what to do? Are we prepared for any kind of this type of crisis? God forbid it does happen. 80% of this is preventable. But are we doing those things to prevent these kind of things? So we want to make sure that we are focused on reality. As I've gotten older, I'm in my 60s now. This is the time your body starts to break down a little bit.
A little bit.
It starts to change on you.
Little
change. You just can't, you cannot take these things for granted. So make sure you're checking your insurance information. You know what's available. Keep some cash on hand, and then understand that you might even look at. We'll talk about this later. The resources that are available to people in the community that you can probably touch, or you might know somebody already that's been affected by stroke, and they might not be aware of all the different community resources available.
Absolutely. So stroke recovery affects your marriage, your family, your friends, your caregivers, your communication, and your emotional health. Right. So if you have a stroke, it changes everything. It really does. So stroke can lead to depression. Obviously, if you can't all of a sudden move, you was a vital person thinking you were living your life to the fullest, and you have a stroke, and all of a sudden you can't talk, or you can't walk, or you can't lift this arm. I mean, that's going to make you, that's depressing.
Yeah.
Isolation, you might feel like totally disconnected, like a failure. Like now I can't do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. So you're going to isolate, and it's going to really change your mental. So the depression and isolation kind of goes hand in hand. Speech challenges, obviously. If you had a stroke, it's going to affect your speech. That's the first thing in this aspect, because it's a disconnect right with your brain. So you got to be ready to be able to communicate on a different level.
Well, the other thing, and you were alluding to it, this is about the relationship portion, right? So you're in a relationship with someone else. This affects everyone, not just yourself, right?
Yeah.
And we don't put attention on the caregiver. And I was a caregiver for my grandmother for a few years down when I lived in Florida. And you don't understand what you're going through. You might go through some burnout, right? Because it changes your flow of life. And now you're like, wow, I wasn't ready set up. My life wasn't set up to be a caregiver, 24 hours a day or 8 hours a day, wherever it may be. So you experience some kind of burnout. That happens a lot. Or you're just emotionally exhausted because you feel you have empathy, right? You have sympathy, but then how long can you really hold on to that without having some kind of relief and release from that, right?
Well, and like as a caregiver, you got to remember that the survivor themselves they go through personality changes. Right. So they might not be the same person that you even knew before the stroke, right? Because you just thinking they're just lost some mobility, they just lost some, and there's a bit of breakdown even in the brain, like there's been some disconnect. So there could be some personality change. You'd be like, dang, they was cool, but now they're just mean after their stroke, or they're just depressed. A personality. So you got to be ready for those changes as a caregiver, and you got to remember that they're frustrated too as a survivor. So caregivers have to be really like emotionally in tune to themselves and to the person who's having a stroke.
I don't think we're getting ourselves, well, especially for myself, I learned later that there were resources available. I didn't even know about that at the time. I was just kind of
caregiver resources,
caregiver resources. People would come to the home. They would give you some time to do whatever you needed to do while they're managing some of the day-to-day things that are going on. Remember, you don't come with a playbook on this.
No,
right?
no.
Right? You didn't go to school for this, right?
Exactly.
So you're just in that situation.
Caregiver, on overnight, right?
Yeah,
there's no you didn't get ready. There's no way to get ready for it. It's just like they had a stroke yesterday. Boom, you got to go into caregiver mode, especially if they're a spouse.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and so recovery, it takes a long time. There is recovery from strokes, but recovery is different for different people.
Mhm.
It can take real quick for some, and some it takes a long time. It depends again how long that brain was without oxygen
Yeah.
and on all that kind of stuff. So recovery is not just physical; it's emotional, it's relational, and it's spiritual.
I
You know,
believe that.
it's all of that.
Yes, it is.
You know, so some of the takeaways from the relationships: just make sure that you check on survivors constantly. You know, if their recovery is ongoing, so don't say if you know they had a stroke a month or two ago, check on them later.
Yeah.
It takes months to get recovered back from, and a lot of recovery. What do they call it? Physical therapy,
Right.
Involved in recovery.
True.
You know,
true. And just remember the caregivers. Remember the people that are there in the trenches every day.
Yeah,
they need
support
some
them.
release. Got to support, at least hear them out.
Sometimes if you got a caregiver, you know, help. Give that caregiver a day off. Like if you can step in and say, "I'll take care of Uncle Joe or your mom or whoever," and you just do your thing. Take care of yourself. Give yourself a self-care day.
Yeah.
Take care of the caregivers.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody who's caring for a stroke survivor, because they're not dead, they're not patients, they're survivors, and so stroke survivors, it's ongoing. It's ongoing care. Practice patience during the recovery process.
You
give grace.
Tempers can get short. Yeah, give grace.
Give grace both ways. Give grace to the person who's had it, but also give grace to yourself because you know, again, this is something people are thrown into without any kind of like training or even getting ready for it. Like, you know, it's just like it happened yesterday, so you gotta put on the hat and take care of it. So just know this grace goes both ways. You know?
I know the one thing we look at this, and I saw this, and I was like, wow, that is so perfect as far as the reflection, right? Sometimes healing looks like learning life differently together.
Right.
It's a new chapter.
It's a new chapter.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just like anything. If anybody has cancer, it's a different thing. Your life forever changes when you become a cancer caregiver, any type of caregiver. Something happens and you turned it into a caregiver, and now that situation, that whole relationship has changed. And you got to learn it differently together. You know, how are you going to survive post-stress, post-stroke, post-cancer, all of that. It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so you learn the things together.
Just understand that. I think when you understand that, you can stop living in the past and start living in the present. And understand that life is changing, and then enjoy this new present, because it could bring new enjoyment that you didn't have before. Sure. You just never know. So there are resources available. If you could let the audience know, because I think this is very important.
Sure. So for we're talking about stroke resources, and so in the Omaha metro area, Nebraska Medicine Stroke and Neurovascular Center. So Nebraska Med has a stroke department.
Nice.
And Nebraska Med has been leading in everything. They are leading in the cancer research in the cancer department. So Nebraska, now they have a whole Nebraska Med Stroke and Neurovascular Center. So if you have a stroke, I will seek some of those resources, some of those medical treatments or whatever from Nebraska Med.
Just call them up.
Yeah.
So you see what's available.
Methodist has a hospital stroke program as well. So
nice.
Methodist right on 83rd and Dodge Street. If you have any kind of stroke issues, you can get your treatment through them.
Yep.
CHI.
Yeah.
Saying now we know that's something else we're learning from CHI. So now it's stroke and mental health.
Mental health.
Right. So they have a stroke care certified stroke center.
Yes, they do.
Yes, so CHI. So we got Methodist, CHI, Nebraska Med. So all of our major ones.
Nebraska Stroke Association.
Yeah. So they give education.
There you go.
Support group to survive and survivor resources. Yeah. And Nebraska Stroke Association education. Nebraska Stroke Association.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So they are here too. They got a website you can look up. But there's people. So basically all your major medical facilities have a stroke department.
They do.
Which is good to know.
It's good.
So I think that covered everybody.
It's common. If we go through what we got out of our message today, first of all, I think most people on this call, they're listening is, yes, I know somebody that had a stroke.
Yes,
or they had
it affects us all.
It's just like that. And we also learned that 80% of these strokes are preventable. I think I want that to be the core message.
Let that sink in. Message.
Take away that.
Prevention.
Right.
Prevention, right?
Prevention.
Learn fast. So if you see somebody having a stroke, help them out. If their face is drooping, the arms are not being raised, if there's slurred speech, time to call.
Doesn't have to be
911.
fatal. Just because you're having a stroke doesn't mean it's going to be fatal.
And it doesn't have to, the longer you take. So just know that the timing is important.
Yeah.
If you see all that, don't be like, what are you doing? I can't, you know what's happening. You're having a stroke. Yes, they're having a stroke.
Yeah, right.
They're having a stroke. Call 911.
And don't panic. Don't panic.
Breathe.
Call
911. Call 911. And just know that that's going to be happening. Their face is going to stroke. Their arms are going to droop. They might not be able to talk, but you're catching it and you're seeing it in real time. So call 911. And it's usually it's not fatal, but it'll probably reduce what happens to them in terms of the long-term recovery.
100%.
Right.
On that. Make sure you get your blood pressure checked.
Please.
You should know this. Every time you get in your car and you start it up, what happens? The oil pressure. You might not be looking at it, but it checks everything. It checks everything. It goes through a whole check, of the car to make sure that it's ready to drive. Are we doing that for ourselves? We get up in the morning, but are we doing any kind of pre-check to see how
you feeling?
What are your numbers this morning?
Especially if you're at high blood pressure. I mean, it's some people who actually have high blood pressure have those portable machines. Get portable machines.
You can get them at a CVS,
so
or your Rexall or your Walgreens.
Get a portable machine. I know I don't use that, but if you have hypertension, or if it runs in your family, or if you've been told when you go to the doctor that your numbers are high, have one with you, because you want to make sure that you know your numbers daily.
Some of these are, your watches, the Fitbits and things like that.
They're
there. They're starting to get a lot of good information. They're checking your heartbeats. There's a lot you
can
get now.
Check your iPhone.
That's showing you what your numbers are. What your numbers are. Know your numbers.
That's it. Right? Talk to your family. Talk to your family about, is it in your family? Talk to your family about ways of de-stressing. Mm-hmm. If you know somebody have had stroke, pay attention to their lifestyle. Maybe they were a real stressful person, or they didn't take care of their high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. And so it led to the stroke. So pay attention to your numbers. And, if you have to get on medication, you ain't gonna hear that from me. I will say, check your numbers, do all those things we're telling you to do on a prevention tip, so that you don't have to get on blood pressure medication. I really hate to have people on blood pressure medication forever.
Love to see you get off of that. Just do the things holistically that you can do is going to help you in the long run. Remember, we always say on our show that you've got to eat right
and move. Yeah, it covers everything, right? And check on somebody that's in recovery. Don't leave the stroke survivors out there to fend for themselves. If you know that somebody's had a stroke, check in on them. How you doing? Can I do anything to help? How's the recovery going? Because we don't want them to isolate or get depressed or anything like that. We want them to know that they're still being thought of and cared for. So they don't.
100%. Remember to share this episode.
Yeah.
We don't want this to go beyond just what me and Tisa are talking about. This is not about
teach somebody fast.
And Grant. This is the community.
Teach somebody fast.
Teach someone. Get it out there. This is how we're going to get better. We're going to heal our community, together. How about that?
Yeah. So your health is your wealth. Your relationships are part of your healing. Awareness today saves lives tomorrow.
You've been saving a lot of lives out here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no one knows.
I've been doing my part.
You're doing your part. Stroke. Hey, remember the Stroke for the Cure is going to be June 27th.
Oh, yes. Plug it. June 27th. That's next month, y'all. So tickets are on sale.
Yes.
If you want to volunteer, please go to our website. We're always looking for volunteers for the event. But basically, buy a ticket, come out and support, celebrate with us. That's what it is. Buy a ticket. That's right. Buy a ticket. We're at that. They've been on sale, but after next week, all of the models will have paper tickets. So there's like 20 models that you can get paper tickets from. We'll kind of let you know who those people are. But all of our Pink Lotus ladies are in the show. So you get your tickets from any Pink Lotus ladies. And then we'll have other guys, our special guest models. Our mayor, Mr. John Ewing, he'll be modeling again this year. Johnny Rogers is always our special guest, who's always modeling. Mr. Michael Scott is going to be modeling again this year. And who else? I don't want to forget it. Terry Scales, of one of the churches will be modeling this year. He's been in there the last couple of years.
Like my guys stepping up.
Yeah, we got some new models, a new prostate model guy models this year. I'm your cousin. And so it's gonna be a good celebration. June 27th, Metro Community College South Campus, the CAM building. Yep. Doors open at 4 for vendors. We'll have vendors to shop at the beginning. The 5 o'clock, the doors are open for refreshments. Show starts exactly at 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. We'll have refreshments, and you can break out times where obviously through intermissions you can shop the vendors. But just come on and celebrate. It's going to be a good time. You got to
come out and get your tickets.
Get your tickets now.
It sells out every year.
Yes, and we want to pack the house this year. We're looking for a sellout crowd. So Don't forget to eat well.
Oh, eat well
And move.
Right. All right. Thanks again for tuning into the show. Remember, if you want to be a guest on our show, you got to reach out to Tisa or myself. You can reach me at grant.mcgaw at 5-star BDM. So I'd love to see somebody. We have more conversations what we're talking about. Peace.
Imagine waking up with more energy, a peaceful mind, and relationships that grow stronger every day. That is the vision Tisa Harden and Grant McGaw want to help you achieve, and it all starts with simple, practical steps you can take this week. On health, wealth, and relationships, every episode brings you real stories and trusted experts. Tisa and Grant focus on 3 tactical steps each week. Small, doable moves that protect your health, grow your savings, and bring you closer to the people you love. No complicated rules, just real progress. Try a clinic-to-kitchen swap to boost your energy. Start a money buffer habit that quietly builds your financial confidence. Or try a 1-minute exercise that helps you reconnect with your partner. These quick wins are not chores. They are steps toward a better life. People who try just one intentional step report more energy, less money stress, and evenings full of laughter again. Join Tisa and Grant. Start small, live bigger. Tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and subscribe now.